So, how did this Harvard happiness study get started in the first place? I know it's been going on for like 85 years, and you're the fourth director, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was actually started as two studies that didn't know about each other. Both started at Harvard. One was started at the Student Health Service, and it was a study of Harvard undergraduates, a group of college sophomores. And the study was meant to be about normal young adult development from the teenage years into young adulthood. And, of course, now we kind of laugh because if you want to study normal development, you study all white guys from Harvard. Like that's the most politically incorrect study sample you could have. But that's who they chose back then. And then the other study was started at Harvard Law School uh, by a law professor and his wife, who was a social worker. And they were interested in how some children born to really difficult circumstances managed to thrive despite that. So they chose boys, not just from Boston's poorest families in 1938, but from families that were plagued with domestic violence, with parental mental illness, physical illness, really troubled families. And their question was, how do some children stay on good developmental paths despite their circumstances of birth? So you had this very privileged group of Harvard guys and this very underprivileged group of inner city Boston boys, middle schoolers, when they entered the study. And those were the two groups.
There's around like 2,000 people total, right?
Yeah. So it was originally 724, 268 Harvard guys and 456 inner city guys. And then we expanded to all their spouses and then eventually to their kids. So we have gender balance, but the big limitation is that everybody's white
Hmm.
in the study. Because in Boston in 1938, the city was over 97% white. So there were no people of color, really, not very many. And so now what we do, whenever I talk about study findings, like I'll talk about with you today, I make sure I only talk about findings that have also been found in more diverse samples, in studies of people of color, for example, because we don't want to assume that a study of white people is relevant to everybody in the world.
Hmm. And how many people are still alive out of the original around 700?
Of the original less than 10.
Wow.
Oh, because the ones who are still alive are all over age 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the ones that made it to age of 100, are there any like common denominators that you see? The reason why they had that longevity?
Not really. I
Hmm.
mean, what I would say loosely is good genes.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about what keeps people happy and healthy, right, over the lifespan. But even the people who stayed happy and healthy almost all have died because, the human lifespan is only so long.
Hmm.
And so almost everybody has died except those rare, really rare people who have stayed alive into their 100s.
No, where does this study stand today as of 2026? What's going on right now?
Well, right now we've finished data collection. We've ended it. So what we're doing is a lot of collaborations. We have other researchers use our data because they'll be able to ask questions that we wouldn't even think to ask or use methods to study these people that we haven't used. So we're collaborating a lot, but we made the decision with NIH. NIH has been our main funder. We made the decision not to reach out to the third generation, the grandchildren,
Hmm.
because the youngest grandchild hasn't entered preschool yet, and the oldest grandchild is in their 50s.
Wow.
So it would be really difficult to do a generational study of that third generation. You know, as you probably know, maybe from your own family, as generations go on, the age spread gets greater.
Mhm. So is this going to be the end of the study after you, the fourth director?
Um, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I'm the last director. It's not an honor I'm so happy with, but
Hmm.
it really seems scientifically like it makes more sense, particularly because, you know, now it's really important that more studies reflect the diversity of our populations, right? And so a study of all white people was fine to do, and it's taught us an enormous amount, but now it's time for other people to pick up the ball and carry it further.
Hmm. So you think there'll be like another iteration of something like this in the future?
Yes, and there are already.
Great.
We are not the only longitudinal study. We're the longest one as far as we know, but there are really good studies happening all over the world. Some in the US. The UK is pretty good at doing longitudinal studies. A lot of it has to do with just having stable funding. I mean, we were very lucky that, you know, we lost our funding at times, but we were able to scrape by, and then we got funding again because it's very difficult to stay funded for decades consecutively, right? And part of why we were able to last so long was because of this funding that kept coming in when we needed it.